Everyone has a certain infatuation with the future.
I've always dreamed of seeing the future, looking beyond my years, seeing the progress of mankind.
It is so tempting to want to know what is going to happen. If I knew which businesses would do well, I'd know which stocks to buy.
Bet you $1 million UCLA wins at 19-17.
UCLA wins 19-17.
If I knew accidents in advance, I'd know all the things to avoid, and I could prepare myself better for the inevitable. There's nothing necessarily wrong with these desires, but I'll be the first to admit these things go from innocent interest to a wrong belief that we can somehow cheat the system like that. This is the kind of mentality that fuels the world's obsession with things like horoscopes. If I could just figure out more about what I'm destined for, then everything would be perfect. Either I could live more proudly because that's just how the universe made me, or I could try and finagle my way around or out of some of the bad things with my new and improved self-awareness. Now, all of this seems innocent enough. Who cares if someone wants to read their horoscope? What's the big deal if someone notices some of the trends in their personality that line up with their star sign? While most people just kind of joke around about this stuff, and it can be a little bit funny sometimes, there are some really serious pitfalls if they start to take it all too seriously. Now, absolutely, we should look to the future and understand ourselves as well as we can to improve our lives. But is astrology the answer for us? Often, Christians who are opposed to all of this will tell you it has evil origins like ancient mystery religions or occultism, paganism, and they even claim it's demonic. They'll say it goes against biblical commands against divination or sorcery or soothsaying, and they'll discredit it because there's really no logical tie between stars and who you are as a person or what events are going to happen. All of these are valid concerns, but it's not really what we're going to talk about today. Instead, let's look into why we as people desire to look into these things in the first place. At its core, an interest in horoscopes is nothing more than an attempt to fulfill that part of us that longs for spirituality and trying to get a leg up on all the bad things that go on in our lives. The crazy thing is, all of us do this whether we use horoscopes to do it or not. Maybe for you it's prophecy. You want to prep for the end of the world, or you want to try and figure out the day or the hour of apocalyptic events. Maybe it's personality tests, figuring out who we're compatible with, or trying to avoid conflict with people before it even arises. Or maybe it's the news.
It's Channel 4 News at 6 o'clock.
Prophecy's good, but it's not written so that we can outrun future catastrophe. Rather, it's written so we can make ourselves ready as we see the time approaching. There's nothing wrong with personality tests, but they're not for excluding people based on compatibility. They're for learning more about ourselves and others so that we can more effectively be compatible with them. And the news isn't wrong, but it shouldn't be used so we're living in constant fear of what we know. Instead, it should be used to make informed decisions rather than ignorant ones. Astrology is quite a bit more insidious than all of these, admittedly, but the reality is, all of us are subject to the same desire to map out the future that might cause us to miss the mark if we take it too far. If we want to stay informed, prepared, and ahead of the game, we need to do two things. One, make sure our source of information is trustworthy, and two, not become obsessed. Imagine 3 people are taking a road trip via caravan. One person in their car has a GPS and they check in with it, but mainly they watch the road and they do their best to drive wisely. Person number 2 has a GPS, but they refuse to watch the road and they favor the screen because it lets them know of any roadblocks along the way. And person number 3 has a banana taped to the dash that they don't look away from. Which one of these 3 is making it safely to their destination? Rather than obsessing over what's ahead, which neither bananas nor horoscopes can tell you anyways, it's way more important to focus on driving or living well. In other words, how you're driving is so much more important than what's on the road. Where will you find the best information on both what's ahead and how to navigate this life? I'll give you a hint. It's not in the stars. Thanks for watching Magnified. If you found our content helpful, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. We really appreciate your support.